From the heart of the city to the edge of the world, telling stories of black kings and queens.
It's Utah, baby.
Every topic, every voice, like a new kind of pearl. Shining light on truths to make the future swirl. It's real talk, baby. Frank and Shy Blue coming through, baby. Real topics, real stuff for the people, baby. Buckle up and let's roll with real talk, baby. It's real talk, baby. It's real talk, baby. It's real talk, baby. And it ain't no me without you, baby. It's you talk, baby. And it ain't no me without you, baby. From the heart of the city to the edge of the world.
It's Utah, baby.
Black kings and queens, we're both in a furrow. Every time we carry.
Real Talk family, Real Talk family. What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy LFJ in the building tonight. I'm doing it solo. My sis Shy Blue is on vacation somewhere, drinking and sipping, as we know she likes to do, for her birthday and Jay's birthday, but we're going to still run it. And y'all know how we start every show. Ain't no us without you, baby. Real Talk family, what's good? What's good? We are coming in tonight. We got a special conversation. We're going to kind of change things up from the norm. But before we get into everything and I bring our special guests in, I got to get to the business as I always do with the shout outs. First shout out of the night, as always, has to go to the man, the myth, the legend, the creator and the proprietor of U-Talk and the U-Talk Network himself, my little brother, Mr. Devin Lloyd, a.k.a. D. Shouts out to you, D. We love you, bro. Second shout out of the night, as always, has to go to the super producer, the man behind the mechanics that keeps everything going, engineered right. Our brother, Mr. Marquise Judge, KJ Productions, is in the building. Thank you for what you do, brother. Third shout out of the night, as always, has to go to our guy, Mr. Joseph Bernard. We call him JB. He's the man behind the merchandise and the designs. Thank you for everything that you do. Fourth shout out of the night, as always, has to go to the viewing audience, our live viewing audience, and the rewatch squad that's going to see this on YouTube and on the U-Talk app. And like we told y'all before, make sure y'all get that out. Get that out. It's on the Apple Store, the Google Play Store. Make sure you get it. But for the rewatch squad, if you're watching it live or if you're going to watch the rewatch, thank you for taking your time to take out and watch us as we do what we do. Fifth and final shout out, as always, has to go to, once again, my little sis Shy Blue, who's somewhere in another country enjoying life while we still stuck in America having to put up with this bull. Anyway, shouts out to you, sis. Thank you for what you do. And without further ado, we got some special guests that we got to bring in the building. Now, these are my people. These are some of my people, like I say. First guest, this is one of my homegirls right here. We go back college. 30 years we've been knowing each other. Shouts out to the class of 95, the greatest class of all time. We did it like that, no doubt about it. Y'all gonna enjoy her because she definitely will bring the heat. She brings a lot of knowledge. She's very much into what's happening with social issues and economical issues and stuff like that. So without further ado, let me bring my homegirl to the forefront. Look, she got her full name, Kimberly, but I know her as Kim. What up, Kim? What's happening with you?
Hello. How are you, sir?
Oh, we making it. We making it. Thank you once again for taking time out your schedule to be here to partake in this conversation. We are going to definitely have some fun. Look,
and
they about to
listen. 95 was the class. Ooh.
What the best? Okay, first things first. Before I bring in our next one, I'm gonna ask you, and then I'm gonna throw it at our next guest. No limit of cash money. Who you got?
No limit.
See that? That's what I'm talking about. I'm no limit too. I'm no limit too. No doubt. So our next guest that we're going to bring in, he's another one from the boot. Like I say, Louisiana's in here tonight. I love it when my fellow Louisiana boot people could be up in here. Y'all know this man, maybe not directly, but y'all know that voice. Because if you watch our sports show, if you've been watching, the last couple of theme songs that we have, he's the one that laced the tracks. He's the one on the theme song. So it's only right that we had to get him in because music ain't the only thing that he does. He's also very much into the social and political stuff that's going on as well. So he's here for a good conversation as well. Give it up for our next guest, the one and only Mr. Rez Burner. What up, Rez?
What's that, my brother? What's that, my sister?
Hello, sir.
Can't call it. So I'm gonna ask you as well. No limit of cash money.
Cash money, brother.
I figured, a little bit younger. I get it. You know, me and Kim, we kind of grandfathered in when Ghetto D and all that came out. You know, that was a different era. So
I got a little cash money bias. I had a cousin that was with the original back when UNLV was there. So
Oh.
kind of tied in.
All right. You know what? I like how P said that it ain't a battle, it's a celebration. And I think we down here, we understand that that's what it is. Like, I don't know, the world wants everybody to think that it's a beef. Take it how you want, but truth be told, at one time, no limit in cash money was both on top of the world at the same time. So to me, it is a celebration. So I'm looking forward to it. I ain't gonna lie to y'all.
I can't wait.
Absolutely. So first things first, I'll give you both the opportunity to introduce yourselves, and let me go ahead and pull the chat up right quick. Kim, you go ahead on and go first. D says he's rolling with the tank. D says give him Master P. He's rolling with the tank. So that's what I'm talking about. Give y'all an opportunity to introduce yourselves, kind of let our viewing audience we got. So go ahead on, Kim. You first. Go ahead, ladies first.
Hello, everyone that's out here listening tonight. Thank you for tuning in first and foremost. But just, I don't know. I'm Kim. That's all I can tell you. I'm flipped by the mouth. So if you come at me crazy, I'm coming back at you. So just be prepared for it. Hush, Larry.
I know. I done felt the wrath a couple of times in my life. I know. Hey, you want to get cussed out?
But I'm also one of the sweetest people you've ever known.
That is true as well. She will not hold back, but at the same time, she definitely will keep it 100 with you. So no doubt about
Absolutely.
that. Yep. And Rez, how about you, man? Give our viewing audience an introduction as who Rez Burner is.
So I go by the stage name Rez Burner. I've been making music since I was 14 years old. I'm 35 now. Started out have been completely independent the whole time. Also, in my professional life, I work in a hospital. I can't say, well, they be watching me.
Right.
But, I have a PhD in healthcare administration. So, just I got a lot of experience firsthand with how the world really works, even with your education and trying to navigate the systems that's put in place.
And we're going to tap into that tonight. So let's get it cranked up. Let's get it popping. We are talking about the current state that we're living in right now in this country, the political climate, everything ranging from Charlie Kirk to the events that happened just over a month ago with, his demise. Also DEI, the attitudes towards that, the misrepresentation, I think, of DEI as they're trying to put it on Black people as if it's something that benefits Black people, when we all know that there are other groups that benefit more than Black people from DEI. And the recent feeling that the deployment of the National Guard has to be implemented. And ironically, I ain't gonna say wonderful governor, but our governor, Mr. Landry up there, has decided that he wants to get the National Guard down here in Louisiana. They're already in Memphis. They've shot it down in Chicago, but we're going to talk about all of that. So y'all got any particular topic y'all want to start on, or y'all want to free roll this thing? Because we're going to catch everything. What y'all want to do?
Just roll with it. All
right. And real quick, D just gave you a shout out. He said, "Straight genius, my brother. Thank you for everything." So, D, by the way, after you jump on with us after, because Rez wanted to holler at you about something. So if you can, just get on after we're done. Let's start off with Charlie Kirk, because when things went down the way that it did on September the 10th, I chilled out. I didn't really read too much into it at the time. You don't ever really want to react to something right as it happens or right after it happens. I kind of saw how everybody else was reacting, if you know what I mean. People like this unwavering support, and people were really getting flip at the mouth. And, there were some things that he said that really, I didn't know who the dude was. I never followed him. I just did my research after what happened to kind of get an idea of who he was and what he was about, because I saw all of this support online and all of this stuff coming at him. And when I saw that, I see that January of last year, he made a comment. He says, if I see a Black pilot, I'm going to be like, I hope he's qualified. Now, this was construed. L&V, what up, sis? How you doing, L&V? This was construed by him to say he was talking about the qualification and not the person. I see a statement like this. I'm thinking, look, you got a problem with the skin tone because this person is a pilot and you see their skin tone, you're not liking the skin tone. What are y'all thoughts on that statement when you read that statement or hear that statement?
He's purely ignorant. That's it. He's an ignorant man. He was an ignorant man in every sense of the word. Anything dealing with a black person, whether it was a man or a woman, he just wanted to do everything he could to diminish the capabilities of a black person. He felt like we weren't capable to do anything. We weren't capable. We shouldn't be in any position that a white person can hold. Period. He's stupid. He was stupid.
I agree. I feel like he was a coward. You know, you have these feelings about black people and other minorities. Just say it. You don't have to hide behind these terms and these statements, like to assume that someone isn't qualified because they're African American and they're a pilot is like she said, is ignorant. We all have to go through the same tests. We all have to go through the same standards and certifications to be able to do these things. So it really doesn't make any sense to question it. But I mean, you see those type of ideologies all throughout the regular world and throughout the corporate world. Whenever you're trying to climb up through the ladder, if you notice, it seems like postgraduate degrees they starting to lose their value, and it's because we're starting to get them. So now that we're starting to get these degrees, the degrees don't mean anything. Back then you needed them, and then now it's, oh well, you need experience. Well, you can only get experience if they give it to you. So at the end of the day, man, it's just when you aren't setting the rules of the game, they can change whenever they want them to change.
Rez, I
And they
want to take
change
it
them.
back.
I'm
Was
sorry.
that?
Go ahead. I
No,
said
go
they
ahead, Kim.
change them often.
Hmm.
Anything
Absolutely.
they think we can step up in, they will definitely change the rules.
Facts.
I had
And,
a problem with the a job, an accounting job I was going for. They wanted
uh-huh.
the degree. I had the degree, but then they said, "Oh, we need 5 years of experience." Well, if nobody gives me a chance to get the experience, how am I gonna get it?
Exactly.
But hey, they'll hire somebody else without.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
So real quick, Rez, I want to take it back to something you said before. You said that you have your experience, and I know you've gotten multiple degrees. Um, and I'm a tread lightly because, like you said, you never know who's watching. I don't want you to, put yourself in a situation. But a personal, what's your personal experience being educated and having to deal with certain things in your selected sector? What kind of experiences have you seen where your qualifications and educations were superseded by your color to hold you back or any situations like that?
I've seen these situations several times. It's just the way racism works, the way racism and white supremacy works is always plausible deniability on their behalf. They can always deny it. It's always set up in a way to where, they can kind of navigate around it. Like, well, we didn't really, that's not the reason why we chose this person because of this. But, you know, uh, our organization had mass layoffs several years ago. At that time, I was a manager. So it was 800 people got laid off. They did it randomly. I was one of those people. So I had to go back into a patient facing role. After that, I ended up getting the PhD. I already had my master's. So once I got the PhD, I assumed, okay, I got a doctorate. There's no way they're going to let me sit here in a regular X-ray tech role with these degrees. They're gonna make sure that I get where I'm supposed to get. And going on 3 years later, I'm still in the patient facing role. I've been applying for different roles, whether it be manager, director, all things that I'm either qualified for or overqualified for. Get to the last stage and they go the other way. You find out who the person is that they chose. It's, the resumes, it doesn't match at all. But the skin color works in their favor. So, those are things you see these things and you may feel this way. You may recognize what's going on, but to be able to come out and say it and point the finger, it really isn't a wise move for it's not a wise career move. They'll just blackball you if I'm not blackballed already because they've been watching my social media for since 2020 when I came in.
I remember you had alluded to that, I think, one time that you were being watched. And that's sad, you know, to have the qualifications, but yet you like you said, it's that plausible deniability. I mean, there ain't but one reason, you know, they quick to say that we play the race card, but truth be told, I mean, that's what it is. I mean, what other reason? If I'm overqualified and I got the educational requirements, why, you know? So
As a matter of fact, I never came out and said that. I've never told HR that. I've never told a hiring manager that. But there was a point where HR called me and there was a claim put in, a discrimination claim put in on my behalf by somebody else. Nothing ever came of it, but they asked me a whole bunch of questions about it, how I feel about things, and same thing I just told you, I told them. I feel like, you know, I can't for certain say what this is, but I know what it feel like and I know what it look like because I came from Mississippi first, and Mississippi was blatant about it, but over here it was a little more, you know, a little more covert. So, you know, I told them these things and nothing ever came of it. I never heard anything else about it. But and I don't even think it's in my file because I've been meeting with HR lately, trying to figure out different ways to, you know what I'm saying, get back where I need to be to keep get my career back on track. Because like we've been talking about, the longer you out of it, the more they gonna hold that against you. Like, oh, you've been out of leadership for 3-4 years. Well, you need to take it step by step again. You need to be a supervisor. Well, I make more money than a supervisor. Like I need to be, you know, I put in the time, I put in the effort. I got 13 years experience in healthcare. I got 4 years of experience as a leader. And then on top of that, more degrees than anybody I'm working for. So, you know, there is no other explanation that they can give me outside of, you know, things that they might make up. But they have asked me about my social media and stuff before.
yeah. Kim, I wanna toss it over to you. What's been your experience with that, or similar experiences what Rez has dealt with you know, having the requirements, educational, and just being held back?
I've definitely experienced it. One job, me and my manager had the same degree, and she did everything in her power to get me fired, lying on me because she thought I wanted her job. And we had a new Caucasian HR manager, and she just went along with it. Well, another job, it's like I said, one, I you have the degree, you have the knowledge, and they won't hire you because you don't have the experience. I can't get the experience if you don't if nobody hires me in this position. And then it's just, believe it or not, I my complexion and all, because people be like, oh, how can you get treated like that and you damn near white yourself? And I'm like, because people know I'm not white, and I get discriminated on the job. I get treated like a redheaded stepchild, as they used to say.
Yep.
You know, so it's just, we go through it. We A lot of times they want us to just grin and bear it, but it's hard to do that sometimes. You know, depending on what you want to do in life, you have to, but it's really hard to do it. I don't think there is a person, especially in our age range, that hasn't experienced it. And it's becoming, with this climate that we're in now, it's becoming more blatant. They're just outright saying and doing stuff that they typically would have hidden. You know, they
Right.
have this, their president has given them this crowd courage to make them feel like they can treat us any kind of way and do whatever they want and say whatever they want, and it's okay. So we definitely get the discrimination, and I've experienced it. It ticks me off, but I got a house I got to take care of. You know, that's the kind of
Right.
stuff we have to think about. Like, we grown, we have bills, we have grown people bills.
Right.
I got a whole mortgage to pay. Like, I can't be playing with these people. You know?
Let me ask you this. I know myself, Rez, you know, as men, we know what our people have dealt with from the male side, but I think you're starting to see more attacks on women. Like it was almost like it was taboo to hear about black women being ridiculed, criticized, and attacked before. But now with video, with social media, you're starting to see it more and more. It's starting to get more normalized to see Black women be attacked. Given that, I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, because obviously it's something that you knew as a Black woman, you've dealt with, but there might not have been any proof, you know, to see. You might not have had any visual evidence, but now that it's all coming to the forefront, seeing how Black women are disrespected by white males at times. Just what are your thoughts as, you know, being a Black woman?
They piss me clean the off, period. You know, it's going through it. I was in the grocery store 2 days ago, and this white man told me, "Bitch, I wish you get your nigga ass out the." Sir, who you talking to? I swung around so quick, and one of my neighbors was walking past with me, talking to me, and he was like, you're gonna go to jail. I don't care. He's not about to play with me in this store. You know, I get that. I get the being called out my name quite often. So sometimes I just think it's better for me to come. I know it always come out when I say, oh, it's better for me to stay home because these people will make me catch a charge. And it's heart-wrenching, but like I said, it's becoming more common because they have this clown in the White House that is encouraging it, you know, and it's becoming more common also because, and I hate to put it like this, on social media, you have so many Black men that are putting down Black women. And they've invented this woman against man thing within the Black race so that we're going against each other, that we're disrespecting each other. But as far as coming from white folks, it can be heartbreaking at times. But at the same time, we know what to expect.
Right.
So like for me, my mom told me a lot of stories of things that she went through. She was in nursing school and they told her she would never become a nurse because she was a nigger, and encouraged her to drop out of nursing school. You know, that's the kind of stuff Black women have always gone through, but it was so covert at that time that you didn't hear about it as much as you're hearing and seeing it now. Right. Social media is exposing a lot of stuff in a good way and as well as the negative.
I tell you what, one thing that I have a problem with is when I hear the term and the phrase, get over it. When we get into a conversation and we start talking about what our people dealt with, slavery, and they'll say, get over it. And I'm going to tell you why. My grandfather, he's dead and gone. God rest the dead. 3 years now. But when I could talk to him at the time and he can tell me a direct account of his grandmother or grandfather that was a slave, guess what? I have a connection to that because I'm talking to somebody that actually talked to a slave. So whenever I hear somebody, you know, I see Black people speaking up for our rights, and the term, oh, that was 400 years ago, that ain't got nothing to do with you, get over it. I feel some kind of way because it does have something to do with me, you know. Getting back to Charlie Kirk, I noticed that after everything happened with Charlie Kirk, you saw this outpouring of support. And I know for me, a lot of my friends, and Kim, you know my history, so you know where I'm going with this. A lot of my friends, they really shocked me. Well, I ain't gonna say they shocked me, because I kind of figured they would feel a certain type of way, but they shocked me in how they were so vocal in their feelings. They didn't care. And businesses, billboards, I'm just seeing all kinds of stuff going on around here, and they're just openly supporting this man that said this stuff. This man said what he said about Ketanji Brown Jackson and Michelle Obama not having the brain capacity, as you know. So what I want to ask both of you right quick. How hard is it to adjust to these businesses and stuff that have opened? Because I no longer, when I see a business or somebody affiliated with a business that came out and open support, I'm done. You ain't getting not one red cent from me no more. What is it like trying to identify or trying to get a grasp or a feel for a lot of these businesses? Because down here where we at, you know, they're going to put that front on like they for us when they really ain't for us. What is it like, you know, trying to get a feel or a grasp for some of these businesses that all of a sudden, like, I ain't going to name the establishment, but if you go back to January 6th, that made that big time Louisiana grocery chain stationed down here where I'm from was up there, if you know what I'm saying. And I see Black people, I'm not dealing with them no more. But just a couple of weeks after, they go into the store. They go into the store, they back. If I ride in the parking lot, I see it. What's y'all thoughts on businesses or stuff like that? People, you know, in business or whatever that's supporting Charlie Kirk, you know, just being able to pull the support away. What's y'all thoughts on that?
Go ahead, Ray.
So I can remember back when we was younger, when those rumors came out about Tommy Hilfiger not liking Black people, and I was Hilfiger down as a little boy, and after that, you know, it was no more Hilfiger in the house. We had the same attitude as Pimp C. So, you know, when it comes to stuff like that, you know, if I see it and it's blatant, then of course I remove any support that I might have had. But truth be told, living in America, we have no choice but to fund white supremacy and racism. Like everything, all our tax dollars goes to that. It's embedded into the system, you know, thoroughly. Our entire system was built with this ideology, so it's really and truly no way around it. Like you can go to a Black-owned business and that's doing a lot in the community, but they still got to pay white-owned tax dollars, white supremacy tax dollars. So, I mean, I think it's always good because at the end of the day, any form of protest is that's mobilization, and mobilization can lead to organization. And we need to be organized. We really good at mobilizing. Black people mobilize really, really well. Whenever something happens, you know, we can get out here and we can stop supporting the business for a little while, or we can protest and get in the streets, and we can keep that energy going for a good minute, but to turn it into organization and then start putting that organization into practice and making sure that we can change laws or whatever it is that we're trying to do. We can't never seem to do that. And I think that's what we really need to be focused on, organizing.
That's absolutely one of the biggest problems with the Black community. We can't organize. And I think a lot of that comes from that crab in the barrel mentality. Everybody wants to be the chief. Nobody wants to be an Indian. Everybody wants to be the leader. And not many people know how to lead enough to organize something to that magnitude. Um, the whole boycotting them thing, I think it would have been a good idea if they didn't employ so many of us. But because they employ so many of us, you don't want to boycott them and then they shut it down. So let's say you boycott them, but we still going to Wally World. And we know who they for. We know who they're all about. You know, before this last stint of things, they were still going to Target. They're still buying from Amazon, they're still buying Apple, they still Samsung. You see what I'm saying? So you're gonna boycott the smaller ones that are employing more of us when you're still paying $1,600 for a cell phone. And who's making that? It's not too many of us in those, you know, coming up with those projects. So
right.
It'll be good if we could come together to actually get something going and get Black America back together. I just saw somebody coming in and said they want to defund Black America, and that's absolutely right. They want to defund us. They want to take us out so that and to as long as they could keep their foot on our neck, their feet on our necks, they think they can make us feel like we're not worth it. And that's another point where we have to get to understand we are worth it. We're smarter than them. We're more intuitive than they are, and we know how to make it and, believe in ourselves more and go through like that instead of just bowing down to the racism. But my money spends everywhere, and I'll tell you in a minute. But that also means some of these black businesses, because all of them not right either.
Right.
Mm. You got
Like,
me. You got me thinking of. I hate to say it, not necessarily from a business aspect, but from a representation aspect. I look at people like Tim Scott. I I look at these cats that they're clamored. They clamored to try to get a place in that administration.
You mean
Buck
the
jump.
DEI administration?
Oh, you listen. You know where with the segue what we going to next. Perfect setup. Perfect setup. They clamored to get into this administration, get a job with the cabinet. Didn't get nothing. Nothing. And look where they at right now, looking like a bunch of fools. I'm gonna put the link up right quick for anybody that wants to join us in the chat. And if you want to join us and take part in the discussion, you can do it. The link is up right there. But yeah, let's get to DEI, because to me, I just think DEI just got misrepresented to push that agenda. You know, if you start looking at Project 2025, and I'm not as well versed on it as I should be. I kind of started looking into it a little bit, you know, around election time. Oh, this is a good comment right here. He said Tim Scott, Burgess, Byron Donald can all kick rocks. Tokens got spun. If you look at, you know, DEI, the face of DEI was made to look like it was all beneficial to black people. Like Project 2025, one of the main things I saw they wanted to do was eliminate the DEI programs. I mean, they got rid of the Tuskegee Airmen. You know, they wanted to erase them from history. So many other things that we can talk about. But truth be told, DEI did not benefit black people as they tried to portray it as such. I know y'all know, but for the chat, do you all know who benefited the most from DEI? White women.
Yeah.
White women were the number one benefactors of DEI because it increased representation in leadership roles. CL Trotter says they own everything until we own businesses. We are at their mercy. We have to become owners and not employees. That's facts. Otherwise, we'll be subjugated to them. On a positive note, we survive and adapt. And that's the main thing. Let's see, black folks, we've been dealing with hard times ever since we were created. We're gonna be all right. That's our whatchamacallit right there. That's our MO. But on the subject of DEI, what are y'all thoughts on that as far as the way they just put the face of DEI on us, used it as an excuse to push their agenda, and just the way everything is going right now? What are y'all thoughts on how they did with DEI narrative?
The DEI narrative that they pushed, along with the affirmative action that they wanted, that they got rid of, it was all a play to get rid of things that they thought benefited us. But here's the other part to that. While it did benefit white women most, it still hurt women, because they are in their minds with this evangelical foolishness that they're following. They are trying to put women back to being barefooting in the kitchen, pregnant barefooting in the kitchen, basically. They don't want women to know anything or to be able to do anything or to lead anything. So their agendas are coinciding, but the whole DEI thing and making it seem like it's a black person thing, that's to rile up their base. That was to get them going, to get them started, and to just to push the ignorance. They're back in the ignorance. Plain and simple. They're ignorant.
So we had a lot of DEI stuff when I first came over. Like I said, when I came from Mississippi to back to New Orleans, um, DEI was a big thing within the organization. So they were creating brand new positions specifically for DEI. It was a growing department all across the nation. Um, I was a part of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Council. It was inaugural. We did it for a few months. Nothing ever came to fruition. We never did anything of any importance. We just had meetings. It was really just there just to, save face and say, hey, look at what we got. We have DEI. We're inclusive. So a lot of people got jobs. Um, Most of those jobs were either handed to black women or members of the LGBTQ community of whatever race. A lot of black men didn't get to see these roles. I tried to get these roles because, like I said, these were high-end roles, very well paying. And once the new administration came in, they got rid of all those positions. All those people basically got rolled into HR positions, so various positions in human resources. So, as y'all was saying, the face of it, when you look at the roles, they made sure that we were the face of the roles. But when it came to who these things were really benefiting, it wasn't benefiting us. It was benefiting white women because technically they're considered minorities as well. So, it's just racism is a very intelligent game, bro. Like they know what they're doing, and they've been doing it for so long. They continue to perfect it and create new ways to finesse and do what they need to do. So, like I said, we were the face. If you look at a DEI position, you're going to see a black woman's face or a black man's face. Typically, a black man. If the black man is in the position, it's usually a member of the LGBTQ community, but
Hmm.
he'll be in the role nonetheless, and he represents. He's a double minority. Same thing for black women. That's a double minority. It kind of gives you a leg up for that. But when you look at the statistics to see, okay, but how is it helping us to get into these other? How is it helping us get into the C-suite? It's not.
Right.
And another thing with the DEI
Hmm.
situation, you said that they brought it on in your organization. I worked at a university here in New Orleans, and they created a DEI department after while President Obama was in office, and being privy to their meeting, it was basically so that they can get those federal dollars. They weren't worried about actually giving us the jobs that paid livable wages. They just needed us in the seats so that they can get those federal dollars. And that's basically what they were after. It and the federal dollars that they got, that they received, were supposed to go towards DEI programs, but they miraculously put them in a general fund and they went everywhere else.
And when you start talking about the different groups, black people being the face, I mean, you start talking about the homeless people. You start talking about veterans. You talk about people with disabilities. You talk about LGBTQ and obviously white women. I would think when it comes down to DEI and people benefiting off of any group rather benefiting off of DEI the most, I would think black people are probably down towards the bottom that have actually benefited from the DEI programs. Yet, like you said, which is factual, they want to take and use us as the face to enrage their base to keep this narrative going.
One thing I did want to say,
Yeah,
what I learned from the DEI, talking to the people within those departments, is the things that they were coming up with. It didn't promise outcomes. It only
mhm,
promised opportunities. So
right,
if they posted a position, they would have to interview at least the 30% of the interviewees had to be African American or something like that. But it didn't guarantee that, oh, we have to have X amount of black people in these slots and X amount of LGBTQ plus members in this spot and X amount of Asians. Like, all they had to do was interview. So
right.
once they interview and they check that box, they could do what they want after the fact. Like, nothing else really matters. So, at the end of the day, like y'all are saying, it's really just a way to raise the base because it wasn't really, affecting anything in a major way. It's just a good way to say, look, Obama got into the presidency and he only got there because of DEI, and we need to stop this because if we don't, they're going to take over our country. It's a scare tactic.
So to touch upon what you just said, enraging the base. We got a little bit of hint. We got a little bit of a hint of that a couple of weeks back when HBCUs were starting to get this attention. I want to say, um, obviously in the wake of what happened to Charlie Kirk, it happened in Utah, extremely white city. The shooter, white. Black people had nothing to do with that. Black people had nothing to do with that. But it's almost like they want to include us in it so much, like they want to put a reason or put the onus of some kind on Black people to just draw us into where you have a legitimized reason for us to go to war, even though we're minding our own business. And then fast forward just a couple of weeks ago at Tennessee State, you got some Maga supporters having a rally. They did not get clearance from the university to have a rally, but they go stage up and post up and have a rally. You had calls and threatening calls to Southern was amongst them. I think Alabama State, you had a bunch of HBCUs right after the Charlie Kirk situation. So I want to ask you both this. What is the fascination with including us in stuff that we got nothing to do with? What is it? Like help me understand real quick your point of view.
It pushes the false narrative that Black people are violent. It pushes the false narrative that Black people only resort to violence. We don't know how to use our words. We don't know how to use our minds. That's why they want to include us in everything. That's why they try to blame everything on us. Just like they say more Black people are killed by police. Actually, it's more white people that are killed by cops.
Right.
So that's what it's about. It's about pushing the false narrative that Black people, especially Black men, are violent.
Historically, we've always been a punching bags. So
Yes.
when you look back throughout history, whenever white men or white women were fed up with what was going on and how they were being treated by the country, all of a sudden they would come drag us out of our homes and lynch us in trees and stuff like that. So it's really just always been the practice of the culture. Whenever they get fed up or whenever they're angry or whenever they're upset about what's going on in the world, they can't punch up at the true capitalists, so they got to punch down on us, and the system is set up to allow them to do so it's just a way for them to vent out their anger and their frustration with what's going on with their own lives or whatever they believe is happening in the world. Um i i pay attention to people like Charlie Kirk. I was watching Charlie Kirk. I go into those chat rooms and see what they talking about. Let me see what's going on so I can strategize. So I've been seeing, this large group of the far right saying that they want to incite a civil war. They've been wanting this. So they're doing things like this purposely because there's a lot of them that just really want to put us back in chains. And, at the end of the day, this is capitalism. And under capitalism, you need a permanent underclass. And we were brought here to be that underclass permanently. And whenever it seems like we're making gains to get from underneath being that permanent underclass, they're going to do whatever they got to do to push us back down. So it's just a constant battle, man. Like, we're battling against what we want the country to be. And being a conservative, you have to take that word literal. It means to conserve. So they're trying to conserve the core American values. And the core American values is white people at the top, Black people at the bottom. Whoever else here, they can fall in the middle in varying ways. But we have to stay at the bottom. We are the capital in the capitalism.
That's what I was about to bring up, that
Yeah.
cultural conservation. They really are going to push that cultural conservation because they want us to stay at the bottom. They wanted to make it seem um like like they have this thing I've been hearing a lot lately, the curse of Ham in the Bible. And they say because Ham was cursing and he turned black, so that means black is bad. No, it's not. But they will do everything to make it seem like that to keep us at the bottom. But that's where we have to start thinking smarter. We have to get better on our game and making them keep making them feel like they're inferior.
Shouts out to Mr. Overdose right quick. Great comment. He says, prime example, the clowns who thought black folks would work in the fields after the undocumented immigrants got deported. That really was an attitude, man. I think a lot of people, they thought that, okay, they get rid of the multitude of the people that are working and doing the work that isn't always recognized, if y'all know what I mean. You know, it's a government identified by the government as such that it would defer to black people to pick up the slack. And no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. I want to transition real quick to this National Guard situation because we saw they deployed them in Baltimore. Memphis currently has them deployed. He made an attempt to do it in Chicago and Portland, but leadership locally over there, they didn't approve it. They didn't want it. So he wanted to do it anyway, and it took a court order to block it. And like I said earlier, in our wonderful state of Louisiana with our wonderful governor, he's calling for it. He's calling for it. And for those who don't know, we know crime in New Orleans has been on the decline. Like I was seeing, now they had a little bit of an uptick in the last couple of weeks or whatever. I heard today that you've had 110 murders thus far compared to 110 murders all of last year. But crime has been on a steady decline. And we all know, you know, New Orleans, they didn't call it the murder capital for nothing. But there's no need for it. And here's my thing. What is getting the National Guard? Because you're going to take away these funds. Right now, the government is shut down. We've been blessed there's been no hurricanes. We've been blessed that there's been no natural disasters in which you will need the National Guard. So here's my question. What are you accomplishing by doing that if you do it? Because if something, heaven forbid, should happen and you need the National Guard, but yet you don't have them because you got them deployed in these cities providing security, what's the point of all of this? What's your thoughts on that?
It's going to enact martial law, which means I can come kick your door in at any given time for any reason because you no longer have any of your civil rights.
But isn't ICE kind of starting to do that as well? Because I saw that lady for WGN that was a producer. They had her on the ground, and clearly she's white. I mean, you could tell she ain't no illegal. I mean, isn't that kind of what ICE is flirting with right now?
Absolutely. That's why they're sending the National Guard out with ICE now. That's why Texas sent their National Guard to Chicago or something to help ICE so that they can enact that martial law. I get mistaken for being Hispanic sometimes. I get mistaken for everything, depending on how if I wear my hair curly. So and I had somebody approach me, and I looked at him. I said, "If you don't get the hell away from me, move." Right. But as far as y'all silly governor calling them to New Orleans, he is another one who thought he was going to gain access to Trump's cabinet.
Yep.
So he is still kissing up to Trump every which way that he can. And that's the only reason he did that. He heard the fact that people were saying Trump is only sending the National Guard to Democratic cities. So he said, let's bring them here to Louisiana. But you only want them in New Orleans. You mentioned there's an uptick in crime lately. That uptick in crime didn't happen until after they mentioned having the National Guard come here. So who do you think is actually committing those crimes? That's not us. That's implants. And I don't care what nobody said. A friend of mine from high school and I had this conversation when I made that post on Facebook. And I had to ask her, do you not remember our classes, our history classes? Do you not remember the classes we took together? Like, we learned all of this. And It's basically to say y'all don't want to approve Donald Trump, so we gonna send trouble your way with martial law. And you see these clowns putting stuff on Facebook and on social media, period, saying just call for it. We gonna knock door to door. That's what they want to be able to do,
Right.
enact the martial law.
Trump was heavily influenced by Nazi Germany, so he pulls a lot of those plays
Yep.
from the playbook. And a lot of the far right wing conservatives are you know, coming from that ideology, and they just want to be able to control everything. They would be fine with a dictatorship as long as it's the right person for them. So, you know, you just got to be very careful. He's gonna use any and everything that he can to wield power, whether that be the military. And I think people just got to prepare for the worst. To be honest with you,
Let me ask you both this because, as we said earlier in the back room, we all have black sons. Um, what is your approach right now? Because I know I can handle myself, as I know y'all could as well, but our sons, you know, being and Kim, yours and mine, they're right around the same age. I know Rez, yours are a little bit younger. But just what's your thought process when you think about, especially as they go out into the world, you know, how to deal with all of this? Because you can literally be going to work, minding your business, and get targeted. And we've seen it all over. We see Ahmaud Arbery. I mean, I don't even have to give all of the names. Just being a young black man in America, how do y'all handle that fear? Because I know I have that fear for mine.
I pray much and I pray hard. My child is a hothead, and Larry, be quiet. But my child is a hothead, and he does not like to be told anything. My biggest fear is because he's a big boy, he's heavy, and he's tall. So people can look at him and automatically assume him as a threat. And I tell him all the time, you got to be careful with your words. Don't just pop off. If somebody put their hands on you, that's something different. But if
Right.
somebody says something, you got to just let people talk. And I try to push that to try to quell that hot headedness, just to try to pull that back some. It don't always work, but yeah. And then he works in law enforcement, so he has that extra target on him.
Mm.
So it's hard. But like I say, I pray often and I pray hard.
I had some instances with my son when he was 4 or 5 years old. He kept getting in trouble at school. We ended up finding out he was autistic and ADHD, but at the time he wasn't diagnosed. So of course he was pretty active in the classroom. He didn't have black teachers early on, or teachers that were willing to try to understand where he was coming from. So I can't remember what exactly happened, but he got in trouble for something, and I think maybe his white friends didn't. He was confused. He didn't know what was going on. So, early as 5 years old, you had to have that conversation. Look, bro, like, I know you think you can do what everybody else can do, but that's just not your reality. You are black, and you're going to have to remember that and navigate the world as such. Um, I definitely got concerns with him, especially because of the autism.
Hmm.
So the way that he reacts to certain things, he can be jittery. He can be a little, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want him to end up in a situation like you said with law enforcement, and they might give him some kind of directions to do, and
Right.
he reacts the wrong way just because that's the way his brain works. It's not anything. He's far from a threat. He's nothing like me, nothing like I was raised to be, nothing like my father. He's extremely to put for lack of a better word, he's soft, and that's kind of this generation. I would say that the kids coming up in his time. So I don't know, man. I kind of feel like I'm a kid raising a kid.
Right.
I'm learning. I'm learning myself. So
Right.
I'm kind of just going with the flow and trying to educate him as best as I can. And when he comes to me with questions, I have answers. But a lot of times, man, it seemed like I don't even think he realizes yet what race means and how it affects him. But I'm sure as he goes into his teenage years, he'll start to learn more. I think you got to kind of be blessed. Some kids are more perceptive than others early on. I was one of those kids. I realized I was black very early on. I was aware at 4 or 5 years old that, oh yeah, they treat me a little different. I need to move different. But for him, he's aloof.
Right. So let me ask you this. Where do we go? Where do you think all of this happens? Because look, we're only 8 months into this presidency, but it feels like we've second term, like second consecutive term. Like, where do we go from here? What happens? Because I just don't know if I could deal with 3.5 more years of this shit.
Prepare for the worst. Prepare for the worst. Stock your house up with everything you think you're going to need. Because essentially, if something happens and we get a real shutdown, or he goes back to playing with tariffs like he was doing before, we're in trouble. Prepare for the worst.
Yeah, man, I think that's all you really can do. It's nowhere for us to go at the end of the day. Like, there's no country for us to flee to. You basically just gotta stand firm on, look, we're from here and we're gonna fight for it and have it turn out, it turn out. I think black people have to be more accepting of that reality. At the end of the day, we come up with all these ideas of how we can, in a sense, liberate ourselves. But everybody knows throughout history, the only time people get liberation is through some kind of armed revolution. And if we're not talking about that, then you know it's really no other ways. To be honest with you, we can get real creative and find ways to be more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But like to completely be free, America, the whole Western world got to fall.
Right. So on the subject of political leadership, we see it every day. And I feel like this, the Democrats, and I don't do the political stuff like that. I'm independent because I see bullshit on both sides. But the Democrats dropped the ball, in my opinion, with how they handled the situation, knowing that Biden wasn't going to be up for re-election. When they saw that his polling numbers and everything, especially after that first debate, when they saw that it was going to be a landslide victory, I thought they should have at least had a primary and let the people select who they thought would be the best challenger to Trump. Nothing against Kamala, but I think at the time they just put so much of the immigration stuff on her, which I thought was unfair because they said what she was supposed to do as a border czar. Well, what people don't understand, there's no such thing as a border czar. A border czar is not an appointed position. That's just a nickname that's given for you to go down there and have talks with people. You go down there and talk to people of other countries to find out why their people want to leave their countries to come into our countries. That's what the unofficial definition of a border czar was. She got a lot of flack talking about the immigration situation. So I thought they dropped the ball in not at least having a primary and letting the people select who they wanted to be the one to run. I'm pretty sure if they would have done that, she still would have got the nomination because she had a lot of steam. Moving forward, I'm seeing different people. I'm seeing Gavin Newsom. I'm seeing AOC. I'm seeing Jasmine Crockett. Moving forward, what do you think would be the best strategy to survive this situation? I mean, obviously he can't run again, but I think whoever's next in line for the Republicans are probably going to pull a page out of his playbook. What can the Democrats do, if anything? Is it possible for them to even come back? Because they got a bad rep right now with everything that's going on. What would the strategy be in y'all opinion?
Here's the thing for me, and I try to make people understand this. Voting for president is not your most important vote. We must get out and vote in these midterm elections. If we don't vote in midterm elections and take over the House and the Senate, I don't care who's president, we won't get anything accomplished unless we pull a page out of Trump's playbook and go into reconciliation like he did in his first term in order to pass the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Other than that, if we don't get the House and the Senate in these midterm elections, we're doomed. Because if they put JD Vance or what's that clown name from Shreveport? Mark, what's the Speaker of the House now, Mike Johnson.
Oh, Mike Johnson. Yes.
Either one of them will be in a worse position than what we are in now. They must take back over the House and the Senate before they look at the presidency.
So real quick, I want to ask you, Kim, in order to do that, it just seems like it's so hard for them to even have a foot in the door because the Democrats just y'all see it. Y'all see how they're getting talked about. Y'all see how they're getting labeled. It's almost like you could possibly have somebody that's worthy for all of these Senate and House seats, and they're still not going to get the nod just because they got that D on their, on their name or whatever, So how can they sell it to the people? Because
stop being nice. Democrats have been too nice. Again, like I said, if they pull a book out of these Republicans' playbook, or pull a page out of these Republicans' playbook, it's over for them.
Kind of like Jasmine, right? Because that's what I'm thinking of.
If they pull a page out of these Republican playbook, all tongue tied. I go back to the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. That was the biggest mistake tax-wise for the American people. Just like now, it benefits billionaires, but they went behind closed doors. Trump pulled 12 senators and congressmen that he knew was going to back him, went behind closed doors and voted for that and passed it. Let's do that. Biden should have did that. If Biden and Harris would have done that regarding these student loans, Dems would have had this election as well. But they're too nice. They won't play nice. They want to talk it out. Time for talking is over.
Look at this comment. Republicans win when education and empathy go down.
And education is definitely going down because just like Trump said, he liked dumb people. He liked stupid people who don't know nothing. He liked uneducated people.
Yeah. I definitely feel like the Democrats aren't in touch with the youth and they've completely lost them. I mean, all you got to do is just scroll on TikTok and it's just video after video after video of really, Democrats fighting with leftists. So you got your liberals fighting against your leftists. You got infighting going in on that side for people who typically would vote Democrat because, Democrats won't take a hard stance on a lot of things. The Republicans are making it very known what they stand for and what they're against and what they're not for. So the Democrats got to do the same thing. Like they wanted to kind of toe that line when it came to Gaza, like somebody said in the comments. You got to take a hard stand. Say, look, man, we supporting the Palestinians. That would have got you votes right there. Same thing with the student loans. Look, we're going to clear all these student loans out. We're going to do whatever we got to do to get rid of these student loans. That would have got you votes right there. Of course, supporting the LGBTQ issues, that'll help you out. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, that's your base. Like, whether you agree with it or not, it don't really matter. I don't know if Republicans really agree with all the things that they go for, but at the end of the day, they know that that's what resonates with their base, and they go for their base. They're not worried about trying to get a moderate in the middle like the Democrats are. The Democrats are fighting for people in the middle. You got to fight for the people that you already got, and I definitely don't feel like they definitely don't pay attention to black people anymore, and we are their largest base. We've been supporting them for the longest, and they definitely ignored our issues. I don't know if y'all remember when Joe Biden was on that meeting with the Congressional Black Caucus, and the way he talked to them, it was so disrespectful. I mean, he disregarded everything they said, the things that they wanted to do. All of them are flippant about reparations, and you can't even talk about that. And AOC, I remember when they asked AOC about it, she was like, but who's black really? Now you don't know what black people are. Now we can't figure out who's black and who's not. Any other time. When you want the votes, you know who black. So like, you know, the Democrats play a lot of games, bro, and the Republicans are straightforward with what they want to do. And you can't do nothing but respect that.
Well, you know what? That's facts. And to go back to originally what Kim said, you know, these midterms elections, we got to get out and vote. But the problem with us is we don't vote.
Mm-hmm.
If you look locally at the mayor's race that just went down, I heard today 30% of the black vote was casted the other day for Helena Moreno, who won. You know, the lack of voting is why Latoya initially won the governor's race. You know,
Mayor.
I'm sorry, mayor's race. I'm sorry. I've been working. Thank you.
We don't want her as governor.
No. She got enough problems. She got enough problems of her own with those indictments and all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, you know, I don't know what it is about us. We can come out for the presidential election, but we're not coming out for these Senate and these congressional seat elections. We're not coming out a lot of times, not even for our city council, you know?
Well, I will say this. As far as the younger people, civics has been taken out of the schools. So
Yes.
they're not being taught that the midterm elections, that it's actually Congress and the Senate, that in the House of Representatives, it's these people that actually make the laws. It's these people that actually run the country, not the president. They're not being taught
Right.
that.
Right.
So they don't know that these midterm elections are the most important things for them to be out at. And it's up to us as parents to inform our children. It's up to us as parents to educate them. A lot of stuff these kids are not being taught in school anymore.
I
I worked
think
in the school system for 9 years. It's crazy.
I think as a culture we like events. We like exciting things. And I feel like we don't see the midterms exciting. We don't see the city council voting process is exciting. But the presidential election is like a big thing, and we like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like culturally, we're into those type of things. Like when it's something little, we kind of, nah, I ain't worried about that. But something big like the presidential election, our eyes get big. Like, oh yeah, we gotta vote. And even sometimes we may skip that, but it's just, I think, again, it's cultural for us. We haven't technically we haven't been voting that long, not as long as
Right.
white people have. So, you know,
Mhm.
we kind of, it's not in our culture to do it. So, you know, we have to embed it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So last thing I want to get at is I want to thank both you, Kim, and you, Rez, for taking time to join and just being a part of this platform. And y'all know y'all can come back anytime. Y'all my people. Y'all can definitely come back anytime. Look on the bright side. We made it this far. We made it this far, and you know, we're gonna be all right. It's a lot of unsettling stuff with the rhetoric in this, the political rhetoric that's being pushed. Before we get out of here, I just want to give both of you the opportunity to give some departing words. If you got any services or whatever, you know, you want to, because we feature businesses and everything else. Rez, you know, we feature your tracks and all of that stuff. You know, D's gonna get with you on some stuff. Kim, if you got some stuff going on, we're gonna be doing business shows. Well, you know, I'll have you back with Shy when Shy's here. I'm gonna make you laugh, Kim. You wasn't here last week. The discussion that we had, real quick. I told Shy that back in the day when I was younger, I was cocky and she thought I was lying. She's like, I can't believe it.
I wanted to fight him every day at Nichols Rez. Every day.
So yeah, this is gonna be archived. So when Sis gets back, you know, I'm gonna let Sis see. Sis, I got proof. I was cocky and I was arrogant back in the day, but I can say that I've grown. But before we get out of here, though, I just want to give you both the opportunity to just kind of give some departing words and whatever you got going on. Just let the people know what you got, you know, before we call it a night.
Well, I would like to say, first of all, thank you for having me. Um, let's push the fact that these midterm elections that are coming up next year are more important, are so very important. they hold such a high importance. And I think your platform can be a very good start for that amongst us. As far as what I have going on, I am a professional tax preparer. Tax season is coming up. So if anybody needs any advice, I'm here. I can be reached at 504-533-4883. I got a lot of other stuff going on, but that's kind of the most important thing that's coming up now, because we need to start getting prepared for tax season, especially with this tax package that was passed with this so-called big beautiful bill. Let's just keep coming together. Do what we have to do to push the information out there to our people. Thank you.
No doubt. Rez?
For sure. I just want to say appreciate it to you, of course, man. It's our first time. All these years, first time ever.
Thanks.
More than anything, I just think we need to start extending each other grace as a community. That's what I'll start saying. We're gonna need each other more than ever moving forward. And not even just here, throughout the entire diaspora. Everybody is kind of going at each other's necks right now, and that's what they want, you know. So at the end of the day, we need to be worried about finding common ground within our own community before we trying to go out and have this outreach and talk to other people. Like the whole idea of Charlie Kirk coming and trying to debate African Americans about what we got going on, it really ain't your business. It ain't got nothing to do with you, because we not debating what white people do. We're not debating pedophilia rates in your community. We're not debating mass shooting in your community. So why are you coming to us and debating me about what's going on in my community? Like, I could take you a little more serious if you was bringing up what's going on in your community, but you only bringing up what's going on in mine. So at the end of the day, we need to stop all that. Stop having these conversations with people that's not for us. Have these conversations within our own community and close ranks, man, and do what we need to do. Pool our money, pool our resources, and move forward. So, God bless to everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Kim, I'm gonna reach out whenever we get closer to tax season, get some free time, get you on here, because we do our business series here on Real Talk as well, me and Shy, where we feature businesses, and we'll have you back where you can kind of talk about the tax stuff and get your services out for those that may want to, reach out to you. We're gonna do what we gotta do to help push the movement. Rez, same thing, man. Like D always say, man, if y'all need us for anything, don't hesitate to reach out. So, me being the Miami Hurricane fan, and I know it's gonna be hard as hell to get Kim to do this. Kim, you're gonna have to do this now, sis. You gotta do this. You gotta do it.
I don't like you like that. No.
Hey, hold up now. Now help your boy out. Now. It's tradition. This is tradition with all our guests. This is something D started. This is what we do with all our guests. You gotta throw the U up. That's what we do when we get up out of here, because this show, this platform, this network was born out of the Miami Hurricanes. So just follow my lead on this.
Hold on.
It ain't gonna hurt you.
Before you do that, I have a quick question.
Yes.
Sir, why did you choose Monday nights? It's football season. You interrupted Monday Night Football.
Well. Okay, I'll tell you how that goes.
I'm just messing.
All right. Because like I said, I know how you get down. I know how you is. Whenever you want to know something, I'm not gonna withhold information because I don't need you going off on me.
Nah, this is more important than football. That's why I was just messing with you, dude. I'm with you.
It's all good. Well, you should be feeling good. Your Patriots came down here and handled business yesterday.
Took them out, and I loved every bit of it.
I'm glad we got that. I'm glad we got this out the way now, because I'm thinking Rez probably would have got off the line before the show started if he knew.
Hey, I never told you this. I'm an LSU fan, but when I was coming out of high school, I wanted to go play for the U.
Hey, you smart man. Like I said,
it was DBU at the time. That's why I wanted to go.
Yes, it was. We on the way back. So we gonna call it a night. We're gonna put a bow on this thing. Once again, thanks. So, like I said, I have my little hat here that I picked up in Mexico, but that's another show. So y'all know how
crazy. That's crazy.
It gets wild over here on UTalk on the UTalk network. So y'all know how we start every show. Y'all know how we end every show. Oh, I'm gonna have fun with this. Throw it up. It ain't no us. Come on, Kim.
You lucky I like you. I halfway like you.
Without you, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Man, once again, appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. Y'all hang around in the back room real quick. I told D, I don't know if I sent him a message, but we chop it up for like 3 minutes or whatever till he could get in there. There you go. So we're gonna call it a night. So it's real talk, and we go. The boss just invaded. I was gonna get us out of here, but the boss just invaded live.
Hey, tell Kim I like that.
She heard you. She looking at you.
Kim, I like that. What's up, Rez?
What's that?
I'll see you shortly. I just want to tell Kim I like that real quick. Rez, I'll see you in the bite.
Hang tight. We gotta holler. So we're gonna put a bow on this thing. But like